You are listening to the Toxic Mold Podcast with Steve Worsley, the toxic mold expert and your number one source for mold consulting and mitigation in the USA. Let's dive into a brand new episode. Before we get started on this episode, here's a not so short disclaimer. While all attempts have been made to verify the content provided in this podcast, neither the podcaster or the producers assume any responsibility for errors, omissions, or alternative interpretations of the issues discussed here. All information stated in this podcast is the opinion of Steve Worsley. Steve Worsley is a mold specialist with over 25 years of experience in the construction and mold industry. The Toxic Mold Podcast is for information sharing purposes only. The views expressed are those of the podcaster and his alone. These views should not be taken as expert instruction or commands. While there may be references to medical conditions and symptoms, all podcast episodes are the opinion of Steve Worsley, and any medical questions or concerns shall be addressed with the appropriate licensed medical professional or professionals. As the podcaster refers to different mold types, please be aware that Steve Worsley is not a microbiologist, and questions concerning mold specifics should be answered by the appropriate professional. Steve isn't, nor does he offer any legal advice. For any legal advice, you must speak with a lawyer. The listener is 100% responsible for his or her own actions. You can check out Steve's books on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for author Steve Worsley. You can also take Steve's courses on Udemy or Skillshare, and you can find out more about those at cnccontractorservices.com. Now, let's get to the episode.
Hello, you're listening to the Toxic Mold Podcast with myself, Steve Worsley, and we have my wife, Cassandra. How goes it?
Good. How's it going with you?
It's just another year, 2025.
That's right.
You know, the time just seems to fly by, so.
It does. The older we get, the faster time goes.
Yeah, we're definitely not getting any younger.
No.
So, anyhow, today's a interesting topic because it's something we talk about all the time, but it's equipment for mold prevention. So when you hear equipment for mold prevention, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Humidity gauges.
Because that's what we talk about all the time.
time.
I think about the Luft because you love to talk about that Luft.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, but there are lots of things that help to prevent mold.
Yeah. And honestly, you don't even have to buy equipment. You can actually pay attention to what's going on in your home, your bathrooms, all sorts of stuff. So your eyes could be the best piece of equipment.
Oh, that's true. Although I really love the little air purifier that you just got me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cassandra got a air purifier. She wanted this for Christmas and she sent me the link. So I just bought what she sent me. And it's an air purifier that you love because you can control it from your phone, has a night mode, has all sorts of stuff. It's quiet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's called Blue Air. But there's tons of air purifiers out there just for our listeners. And if you've listened to previous podcasts where we talk about air purifiers, there's no specific one I always recommend.
Well, would you say, though, that an air purifier is a part of the mold prevention toolkit?
Yes, but I want to be clear, too, with our listeners. If you have a mold infestation and remediation is your next step, an air purifier is not going to fix your issues.
Neither is a fan.
Nothing will. Remediation.
Yeah.
Meaning, I just want to be clear with our listeners because I hear all the time, well, we can't afford it. Remediation's so expensive. I get all of that, but you just can't, try to, I wouldn't even call it a Band-Aid, but put things in place to more or less mask what actually really needs to be done.
That's true.
There are three top things that I would recommend for mold prevention. We already said it, humidity gauges. Our listeners know we talk about that all the time. Monitoring your humidity will answer a ton of questions. Whether you put it in your attic, crawl space, bathrooms, laundry room, common areas, which are living rooms, family rooms, humidity gauges will answer a ton of questions. The two other things is a water alarm. We've talked about those. Those are devices that you can buy that you would install like in a crawl space, in a laundry room, in a mechanical room, something you can put right on the floor or in a drip pan. It has a sensor. As soon as water hits it, an alarm an actual audible alarm goes off.
Absolutely.
And those are pretty cheap. The third thing is, and it's a little bit more expensive, is a HEPA vacuum.
And what makes you say HEPA vacuum as a mold prevention tool?
Just because a HEPA vacuum can take care of a lot of issues. Mycotoxins love to be in dust, and if you HEPA vacuum, that would help. But I want to be clear with our listeners. When I say HEPA vacuum, and I've had clients that they go to Amazon, Google, wherever, they Google HEPA vacuum, they find a shop vac that has a HEPA filter, and they think that that's a HEPA vacuum. That's not. You should buy a true HEPA certified vacuum, meaning the unit itself has been certified that the exhaust will not allow debris to go back into the air. Meaning, if you have just a normal shop vac and you don't have a true HEPA vacuum, you're literally just going to pull it from the intake side and push it right back through the exhaust. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So it's not, they're more expensive. There's tons of brands out there. We have a resource page on the website where it's one of the vacuums that we use, but it should be HEPA certified.
Okay. HEPA certified for sure.
Exactly. And to kind of go a little deeper into that, our HEPA vacuums are certified to be sealed. They have a pre-filter, a filter, a bag, and then they have a filter on the exhaust. So you have like 3 different systems in place.
Absolutely. What are some other things besides the top 3? I mean, obviously the humidity gauges, the water alarms, the HEPA vacuum are your top 3. What else would you say if somebody's like, I want to make sure that I have the equipment that could help prevent mold? What else?
You could buy an air scrubber. So, which is totally different, in my opinion, than an air purifier.
Okay.
An air purifier, that's something you use inside of a home for preventative measures. Maybe you have allergies. An air scrubber can be used for air scrubbing, or you can set it up for negative air, which is what we do when we're doing remediation.
Okay. So then definitely it's people can invest in themselves, but I can, what if somebody's listening to this and they're like, how am I ever going to remember these things? Like they're really important. The loop, the humidity gauges, the moisture, water alarm, the HEPA vacuum, air scrubbers. How do I create my own list and remember what to purchase and where?
I don't think we have an opt-in, do we?
I don't think so, but we do have a resources page.
Yeah. On our website, they can go to the resources page. There's links to articles, videos, stuff for the Luft. There's, humidity gauges. There's all sorts of stuff. They can find those there. But to go back to your question, like without a consultation, it'd be difficult to just give somebody a list of things they should do. Does that make sense?
So talk a little bit about the consultations. Like how could somebody go to cnccontractorservices.com, sign up for a virtual consultation, and how would that help them figure out this piece?
Well, we would go through, first and foremost, when you pay, once we see that they've paid, they are sent a questionnaire.
Very detailed questionnaire.
Yes, and it asks a lot of questions. I'll ask you for lab results, whether it's the medical side, air testing, tape lifts, ERMI, EMA, all of those things. We gather all that information. I obviously get it scheduled. I look at everything, ask the client if there's, if I have other questions. Once we actually get on the consultation, I'll say it's a call, but we can either do it on a phone call or Zoom link. We will go over all of their issues. If I believe they need mold remediation, we'll get to that step. I'll tell them, you should hire an IEP. I'll recommend the different types of testing. Like we'll more or less, it's catered to every client and it's unique to their situation.
So then from there, you customize sort of what should be their next steps, including if they needed any equipment for mold prevention.
Exactly. And, we obviously come up with an action plan and there's a follow-up after the consultation. I mean, it's, like I said, it's pretty detailed as far as what we're going to do. But on the other hand, like our different consultation packages include different things. Like we have packages that include EMA testing.
Yeah.
We have packages that include a VPA, which is a virtual property assessment, and a consultation. Typically, we do the VPA first, then we do the consultation a few days later, a week later, whatever. But my point is depending on what they purchase will determine the length and how much information I'm going to give them and share with them.
Okay, so just bringing it full circle, because I think a consultation would really help customize what equipment they need and when and how they should be using it. What's your call to action for people about equipment for mold prevention?
Go to our website, cnccontractorservices.com. I believe it's on the far right. There's a little tab that I don't know if it says other or whatever it says. Anyhow, if you click on that, it'll pull up a resource page. Mm-hmm. Go to that resource page and buy, humidity gauges. That's where I would start.
Okay.
Buy some humidity gauges. And we mentioned it a little bit earlier. We have email opt-in freebies is probably the best way to say it. We have the mold prevention checklist.
We have the mold fact sheet, the mold investigation checklist.
Well, that's right.
And how to hire the right mold professional.
Exactly. They're all free. It's not going to cost you anything. You just fill out a page. We get your email address. We'll send you an email, every 2 weeks, once a month. Any promotions we're running, they could start with that, and that doesn't cost them anything.
Absolutely. And they could also read the books.
Yeah, we have 5 books. I'm supposed to be revising The Mold Epidemic, and I say supposed to, but I've been working on it. It's just between remediation and consultations, and you know how it goes. I haven't got to that, but we have 5 books that are out right now. They're an Audible ebook and paperback, or a print copy, I guess is the word I want to use. But for our listeners, there are 3 different versions you can purchase, and we have 5 books.
Absolutely. So if you like to listen to Audible, they're available on Audible.
Yep.
The Mold Epidemic being the first one, but there are some others, Black Mold and Home Inspections. And then if you're somebody who just wants the book hard copy, you can also go on Amazon and order the hard copy, and it'll be there in the mail to you in a few days.
Exactly. So we appreciate all of you listeners. We couldn't do this and wouldn't do it if we didn't have all of you. So we appreciate all of you. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Make sure you go to our website at cnccontractorservices.com and sign up for the mold investigation checklist. Again, go to cnccontractorservices.com and get your free mold investigation checklist today. You can also on cnccontractorservices.com find out more about Steve's courses and books and consultations. Once again, go to cnccontractorservices.com.